Good morning, everyone. Swiftgal. We are playing some more Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Randomizer. I haven't done this in a while. I was intending to do one of these a little while ago, and the recording messed up. So we're going to try it again. This is a very classic seed. Classic Forge the Crystal. Magna Key, relaxed characters. I want this to be kind of a quick step back into things rather than a super complicated thing that's going to take me a long time. Also, I don't have the time that I would normally want to do to dedicate to a full one. So we're just going to give this a shot. We're keeping it simple. And I can't tell which twin that is because of the color palette swap, but let's go ahead and give it a start. So, if you are not familiar with, okay, that's a Palom and a Rydia double black mage start. That's scary. But we did get our Magna Key right off the bat. So that's a couple free item checks. So if you're not familiar with this, it is a scavenger hunt. The idea is to run around the world collecting items. The key items are mixed up. So anywhere where you would normally get a reward, like a lot of them are keys or items that you have to use at a certain point, get mixed up, and the bosses get mixed up. Those are the main two things, along with the treasure chests. Now, everything is still weighted, so it's not like you run into Leviathan in the Antlion Cave and you're just dead. It keeps the stats and hit points of the monster that's there, but it does use its moves. So if something uses Fire 3, you know, the Rubicant fight where he uses Fire 3, he's probably still gonna one-shot you, even if he's in the Antlion spot. Let's run over here quick. I'm gonna check the item shop just to see what we've got. Kamikaze, Maiden, Kiss, Cross. Nothing important. And that's basically what I wanted to know out of that. So we currently don't have a lot in the way of characters that can actually do damage. So we need to do a little bit of looting first. And the first thing we're gonna do is actually head down to actually, let's check job door first. I've changed my mind twice now. No. We're gonna start with cave. So these characters are very low level and are going to die instantly if they get in a fight, but random encounters are turned off. So the only thing we have to worry about is that one trap chest, which is why we saved. Because now, knowing where the trap chest is, there's only one trap chest in this dungeon, which means we can now loot the entirety of this higher end dungeon, which is weighted to have better items. Even if we don't end up getting items that can be used, we can get items to sell. And that's the big thing with this is we're getting money, we're getting more power. Okay, there's a couple of the items I was looking for. Items like that Blizzard and Bomb are actually really good for a party like this because it means that we can have a way to do damage that isn't dependent on the character's stats. Because right now, even though Palom and Rydia end up as very good characters, right now they are very weak. Now, the reason we're going down here first is it is a lot of treasure. It is a lot of good treasure right off the bat. It's a couple high-end shops. Oh, there we got the Adamant Rock, which I guess I should explain. The goal is actually going to be to get the Legend Sword and the Adamant Rock, so we're halfway there. And that will let us... Sorry, shopping requires brain power sometimes. I do not have enough money to actually buy anything. That's the downside, and that's actually why we're going here first, is because I'm not expecting to be able to buy anything. Anyway, yeah, Legend Sword, Adamant. That's the goal. I'm gonna check, because if there is something good enough here, I may sell something that's a little bit more valuable, and we just found... So Murasame is only good if we get an edge. Artemis Bow and Rune Axe are good for a lot more characters, but they're not as good at the end of the game. That'll work. Dancing Dagger lets you do damage based on your magic stat, so that is a very good early game item for Palom and Rydia, but right now Palom. Those are good, but not worth spending the money. So anyway, Legend Sword and Adamant are the key items we're looking for. That'll let us take them to Kokol, who will then forge the crystal for us to be able to beat Zeromus. The way this is set up... Ooh, Lilith Rod. The way this is set up, we are only going to be able to find items in the common areas here. So nothing in the summon monster spots. I don't want to deal with that right now. So we're going to continue through the dwarves area. So yeah, basically our goal is going to be to find all those items, or find those 2 items, which we kind of follow the trail. Ooh, Heroine Rope. That's actually really good. So the way that I'm picturing this at this point, for early game, the first fight is going to be the problem. Heroine Robe makes Rydia actually be able to survive. But she's at level 1. She has 30 hit points. So she is not very survivable. We really just need to get a lucky win for this first one. Once we get one fight under our belt, though, Palom with the Dancing Dagger, Rydia with the Heroine Robe, Artemis Bow, is going to wreck things. Now, I'm starting with all of these because the underground areas are inherently weighted to have better treasure. And shops. Mute Dagger is also a good one. We don't have enough money for it. Okay, we definitely don't need the Blitz Whip. And I'm gonna go ahead and sell the Black Sword and the Samurai Helmet to grab a Mute Knife. That'll be good for after. Mute Knife gives... Mute Knife gives a bonus to your magic casting stat. So it is actually pretty solid for characters like Palom and Rydia. once I get them high enough to start casting spells. And then it's also just a very good weapon for Edge, or, I mean, even like Kane or Cecil. Well, there's a second dancing dagger, which is both kind of nice and also kind of unfortunate, because I spent that money on it. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That is probably one of the most important summons in the game for Rydia. And I am gonna probably sell more than I should to get it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and sell the Murasame. Oh, we started with a Siren. Okay, that actually makes that changes everything. I have a plan now. Okay. I guess I don't know if we started with it or if I found it in one of those and just didn't notice. Either way, Siren lets us summon an enemy to fight. So, we are going to go down to this little pocket here. I think this will be the right spot. I'm going to save just in case. Siren. That is not the right enemy. Reset dart quick. Like I said, it's been a while. I know that you could do it on this little patch. I couldn't remember if you could do it on the one over there or not. This should... And the reason we're going here is because this is an egg. What that means is it does not actually get to move until you attack it once. So we're going to use this coffin item that I found to instantly kill this egg, which is worth 34,000 experience, which is going to get us enough levels to get Callum into the level 2 elemental spells, Virus, and Rydia is going to get, looks like 19 levels, so she's at 20. We don't actually care about the spells she's getting right now. We care about the fact that that makes her stats less awful. Especially like her hit points, which I'm gonna go ahead and toss a silver apple at her. And let's go ahead and equip these characters up. So we're gonna go ahead and do Medusa, Artemis, Heroine, Mute Knife. I don't think we've got anything else here. Nothing great. So now all we have to do is stay at an inn, and we're good to do the first couple bosses. It's kind of on the way. We'll do a quick check at this item shop. We do not have a lot of arrows. We're using Medusas right now. I'll keep the lightning. I thought there was... There's another chest down here. There it is. I think I'm still missing one, but whatever. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these. And it's been even longer since I raided Mist. Okay, we're gonna grab another character right off the bat here. Just having somebody who can actually take a punch is really important. That'll do. This is a relatively low hit point spot, so I think we'll be okay on Kinazo. And we've got Quake. Kinazo is weak to lightning when he has his wave up, but he's weak to ice when it is down. So, ice... Apparently he's really slow in that spot, so a well-placed Ice 2 just took him out. Ooh, Rune is really awesome. This is very much shaping up to be a good, or potential mage seed. Like, obviously starting with the two best black mages is a great start if you're planning to use reflect strats at the end of the game. It does mean there's a bit more of a grind, but there's ways around that. Rune Ring will do a great job of keeping Hallam alive. So as much as we are, we've cleared a few areas here. The areas we've been clearing are for regular items, not key items. So we're still quite a ways off finding any real progression here. We're gonna switch over to the Ogre Axe. It's a little bit lower power, but it is higher, oh, you can't use the diamond, okay. It is higher accuracy, which is more important most of the time. We'll switch it if we need to, or if we fight something that is a mage, but... This should do it. Yeah, one Siren and an early Magma Key basically means Palom just wrecks things. So, is what it is. Let's real quick swap that around. Rydia hasn't really gotten to do much yet. But when we fight something that doesn't have an immediate magic weakness, having Heroine Robe goes a long way. Baron Key means that we can now double dip. We can do Baron Inn and Baron Castle all at the same time, which is good. I feel like that'll be our next step. We're gonna do Fabul and then head over to Baron. Okay, I don't remember how much this spot has in terms of hit points, but I think with Quake and our setup, we should be okay. Yeah. Quake kind of trivializes a lot of the early game. I mentioned at the beginning something about, you know, the spells really matter more than the character's stats in a lot of cases, like especially for the bosses. We literally just... Okay. Well, that is the Legend Sword and the Adamant, which means that we can go forge the crystal and beat the game. The problem is, we don't actually have a way to get to Zeromus yet, nor are we anywhere close to having a party that can take him on. So, the goal from here on out is just finding either the Darkness Crystal or the Pass, and finishing out our party and getting some levels. These are also... Rydia is the character that takes the longest to level up. So there is also that. Well, I said I wanted something fast and easy. I wasn't expecting to literally get the win condition within the first 3 checks. But it is what it is. Tella. That's interesting. Okay. We do have it set so Wyvern doesn't do Mega Nuke. It randomly uses any other attack from throughout the game. It is a little easier, but often very, hey, Vanilla Yang. That's actually a little scary. I said a little because Quake, but I mean, he punches kind of hard. If it gets to punch. Okay, so we've got Tella. And the Pan. Interesting. So Tella gives us a way to level up. It's not a fun way to level up, but it's a way. And that is we can do a D-Machine grind. It's only one more. I wanted 2. Should be able to sell these vampires now. Sell the change rod. Charm claw. I hate to do that, but I feel like it's probably worth it the way that this seed is going. Like, we have very heavy magic users right now. I think tossing the rune axe is probably going to be okay, but not quite yet. I think we go Dragoon Shield. That'll make Tella slightly less terrible. Now, the nice thing is Tella has lots of spells. The bad thing is Tella has very little MP and very little power behind said spells. Yeah, we're gonna need like... we're gonna need either 2s. Possibly, at this point, or at the rate we're going, we're gonna need cure potions or a way to... or another way to heal. Or a white mage before we level up. Like, I mentioned we can do a D-Machine grind. I did also say it wasn't going to be fun, and with this party, we'll see who the last character we get is. Obviously, there's a few options. We're going to get one for Baron Castle, we're going to get one for, let's see, we're going to get one for Baron Castle, we're going to get one for Dwarf Castle, which we can do. Okay, this is actually really bad if we don't get a kill very quickly here. Did I sell the kamikazes? I could have sworn we had a kamikaze. There it is. We had to get the count off one character. And because of how fast Rydia is, it's basically messes up the way that play... Normally, you're supposed to have enough time to react, but because of the speed difference there, Plague... we were going to be in trouble. Plague was going to not get a chance... Or we weren't going to get a chance to deal with Plague before the countdown got even close. Water Hag or Gauntlet? Gauntlet is doable but annoying. A little bit of free XP, I suppose. Not good XP, but a little bit. Okay. That's a problem. Perfect timing. Okay, let's see who our last character is, or our first last character at least. Forum. I mean, that'll work. It's a white mage. Hallam and Forum. We're gonna be leveling Rydia up anyway, so Forum's low hit points aren't as big of a problem as they usually are. Because, quite frankly, this entire party is very low hit point. We basically just need to... we're basically just going to be erasing Zeromus. Do I want to just... I can't level... Or I can't do the leveling now because I don't have a Darkness Crystal. And actually, if I find the pass before the crystal, we may still be in trouble. That's not what I was trying to do. Although, I am going to go ahead and keep an eye out here. Life potions are important. Oh, that was the other thing I was gonna do. Duh. We didn't get our freaky item here yet. So, while we're in the neighborhood, let's do a quick check. Earth Crystal. Well. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that then. I don't see a reason not to. We'll loot the treasury, and then we'll head straight into the Earth Crystal. We will need to do ordeals at some point here as well. Life Staff. Crystal Sword. And Crystal Armor. If we find a Cecil, we will be set. If we don't find a Cecil, we will have more than enough money forever. That Life Staff is going to be usable for Forum, probably. I don't think we've actually got anything that she can wear. I guess you've got the rune ring. That's better than nothing. So we're still not... We don't have any of the good mage gear right. No sorcerer robes, no black robes, no Oh, what's the rod? Stardust rods. Like, equipment-wise, our black mages are actually really not in great shape. Now, that is very likely an easy fix if we find a good store. But, you know, that's reliant on randomization. I didn't heal. And by that I mean I didn't restore MP. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use one of my elixirs here. Forum got several levels, gets Berserk and Cure 2. Okay. Let's see. Edge. Let's see what our other option is. We have really good equipment for Edge, so I may just go for that reason alone. Kane. Yeah, I think we go Edge over... He's not as tanky as Sid, and I can't use him as an agility anchor. But Murasame, Longsword, I mean, I guess for now, Ribbon. Karate. Yeah, we can just use Tella as a agility anchor, and I think we'll be okay. We still have options. Again, if we find a Cecil before we level up, immediately dropping everything. Otherwise, I think we're probably good. So you can see the big difference there between Porum's healing with that life staff and Tella's healing. Realistically, I should probably be switching him off or over to the lunar rod that lunar staff that we picked up. But that's okay. So with Edge in the party, harp is a little bit more tenable. Let's see what our item is here, however. Because if we can get a good... Or if this is the Darkness Crystal, then obviously we don't need to continue. Package is about the least useful item in this situation. Okay, so I'm leaning towards, at this point, we could do Dwarf Castle. We need to do Ordeals. If we're keeping Tella, we need to do Ordeals. So I think that's the first thing we do. Like, there's no reason not to, because we're going to do it anyway. The second thing I think we're going to do after this is head underground and turn in our sword and adamant for the crystal. We're doing that for two reasons. One is it opens up Kobol's shop, which might have Stardust rods, basically all the stuff that I just said I wanted to find. There's a decent chance that Kobol's shop will have at least one of those. The third thing is when your key item count hits 10, you get double experience, and the crystal counts as a key item, and we don't lose the other two. So, lots of reasons. Should be a quick turnaround there to just dip down, get that out of the way. We can do Dwarf Castle while we're down there. Ooh, actually, with an edge, we can do Siren Grind instead of D-Machine. Depending on who we find. That does unfortunately mean we don't necessarily need Tella, if that ends up being the case, but that's okay. It is a bit of a longer but safer, I guess, process. All the free fights. Bridia is taking so many actions. So, if we find a duplicate Black Mage, or like a Rosa, even a Fusoya, honestly, I think I might go for the Siren over the D-Machine. Because Dwarf Castle will get us a character. That's why, or part of the reason I'm doing it next. It's also 2 key item checks with the Warp Glitch on. Rat Tail is... we don't have the hook yet, so it's not actually a viable item yet. This spot only has 1,000 hit points. So we will wreck it in short order. Okay. Wherever Cecil is, he becomes a paladin. Tella learns Medio and all of those spells. Actually, let's make sure quick. I don't actually have warp yet. So there's a good reason not to do that. Oh, never mind. I have Rydia and Tella, who should. So, there's that. Man, if we get a Cecil, we are going to be decked out in crystal here. Boss made this. That is kind of awful, honestly. Okay, so we've got our crystal. I guess we go Dwarf Castle just to get our last character, because if we get somebody else we can use that instead of Tella, then I will definitely go with that. Okay, Malin Z. I'm okay with Malin Z. Shouldn't be hard. I think duplicate characters are allowed, so with that in mind, the ideal character we could get here would be a second Hallam. I think. He's undead, which is why the healing can get used there. Also, is a flying enemy. Which makes him weak to the bow and arrow. Second phase is Bal. Not the best for this party, but I think this spot is okay. That's a Cecil. Yeah, we can do this. We can make this work. Let's be fair. I really just didn't want to do a D-Machine grind. Valvalis is very strong against magic. apparently not strong enough. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this spot is very weak. So that makes some degree of sense. So Cecil gets caught up. I did think about knocking him out so we could overgrind, but if we're not doing a D-Machine, that's not going to be a thing. For those of you who are not aware, D-Machine is a way where you, there is an enemy that summons off of a trap and does a very consistent amount of damage, which means if you continually hit this like trap enemy, it'll keep summoning more of them. So you do one fight that has many one fight with lots of enemies, and it ends up becoming this ridiculous cascade of experience in one fight. We are not going to be doing that because it is awesome. Darkness Crystal. I'm glad that Warp Glitch is active. This is technically the back of the Luca cave, the sealed cave. Okay. So we're gonna do a little setup and then do the grind, I guess. So this is a two-part grind. Oh, crap. We have a few slots now. Not a lot. Okay, I need to sell crap first. I don't think there were any great items here, but I also don't remember... Actually, did I even check this? Yeah, I did. And actually, real quick here, also... we need to get the Artemis gear off of her. I picked up a Stardust Rod at some point. I guess that works. But again, we have very little else besides that. Using this to get the back row glitch on Cecil. Edge. That should be fine. Now we can sell some stuff. Okay. Because we're not going to use the Artemis bow. At this point, this is mostly for cleanup, although we may need to find someone to sell a little bit of gear, but not that much. And just to make sure, I checked these. Yeah. So I'm intentionally not equipping Cecil's armor right now, you may have noticed. And the reason for that is that we are going to be killing everyone. Except Edge. We need to find a trap chest. Crystal ring. The chances of none of those being a trap chest feels very low. Oh, actually, that was dumb. I do want Porum because Cry actually makes it more likely that you succeed at stealing. So there is not a limit to how many times you can steal from an enemy in this game, which means we can sit here and have Edge steal sirens until we have whatever we deem is enough. I'm genuinely not sure, and I'm gonna err on the side of caution. So this is going to let us, that egg that we killed at the beginning of the game, we're literally just going to use this to do the same thing again. And kill a bunch of those eggs. And, I mean, they're one of the safest enemies. They are the safest, highest XP enemies on the overworld. I guess, without going to the moon. Well, they're still the safest. We're probably gonna need 15, I'm gonna guess. Now, however, with a Porum and Iridia, I'm gonna err on the side of caution and go a little high. 15 may already be high. Honestly. That didn't do as much as it was supposed to, but oh well. I guess whatever extra we get, that's fine. Well, oh, I guess I wasn't even thinking about the equipment. Or lack thereof equipment, I guess. That actually does... Ooh, gold apple. The lack of equipment means that those extra sirens are more likely to be needed, just because it's going to be harder to actually get a quick kill on Zeromas. Okay, so our characters are already at 30. I couldn't remember exactly where they were, which is part of the factor for how many you need. Rydia does have the highest XP requirements in the game. This should one-shot. That'll work. And because of the 10 key items, we're now getting 68,000 or 68 instead of 34. That was weird. I do feel like he's the most reliable here. So the two goals we've got right now are to get Rydia to nuke and to get Porum to 1,800 hit points-ish and Cure 4, but that should... there's some implications here that are we also want to get Palom up to nuke, but if Rydia does, then Palom definitely will be. That's what happens if you don't one-shot the eggs, by the way. That screwed things up in a weird way. Quake is a really good spell. Talon learns it earlier than they should. Crap. Apparently that's still a roll. Unfortunate. I thought Rydia was safe to get kills. Now Rydia's got Quake now, that'll help. Make that a little more reliable. Okay. Tier 4. There's weak. We're getting close. Forum's up to 1500. Rydia's only at 1400. Like I said, Rydia levels up slow. We do still have that gold apple, so one of them can get to 1700 and I'll call it good. If this ends up being 18 on the nose, I'm gonna laugh. There's Nuke. I don't think it's gonna be. I think we still went a little over, but it's gonna be close. Actually, Porum getting white is also helpful. That'll work with Reflect as well. Even though we have a couple powerful physical characters, the goal here is not going to be using them. We may end up using them for the beginning of the fight, just to push a little extra damage, but I want to be very careful about not... Okay, let's go one more. We have Nuke, we have Porum, Porum's at their correct hit points. Rydia should be at the correct hit points after that gold apple that we're gonna give her. That gives her 100 extra hit points. Okay. Do I actually have any gear here? No. No, I don't. Like, not even charm rods. That should work. So just to briefly explain what just happened there. We're specifically trying, or Cecil has the Cursed Ring equipped. What that does is it lowers all of his stats by 15. The reason we're doing that is to get his agility at a certain point. And honestly, I'm not sure that we need it. Never mind, we do. I wish we had like a Dwarf X or something that was a little bit less extreme, but it'll work. We've got 4 more sirens, so if this feels like it's going very badly, I will abort and we can try starting over. I don't have a pass, so we still have the walk ahead of us. Actually, yeah, that'll work. If we end up needing a little bit more grind, we can always do that on the moon. I'm still going to save in an alternate spot. And I'm still going to check these shops before we leave. I'm not going to go around the world looking at all the shops. That feels like it's unnecessary at this point. But I do feel like honestly, I just realized it might be faster to just do... Yeah, no. This is faster. This has got to be faster, right? Right? So yeah. I think sorcerer robes can show up in Mazidia, so it's worth checking. Honestly, at this point, even like a wizard robe or something would be fine. I don't think karate actually helps at all. Yeah, this is terrible. Okay, well, I am gonna poke my head in the item shop as well. I will pick up some extra star veils. Those are good for security. If we need 13 star drop, or if we need 13 star veils, something has gone horribly wrong. There's another character on the moon that I didn't check. So at this point, it doesn't matter. We've already leveled. Unless it's Fusoya. Vanilla Fusoya might still be worth it. We can toss Edge. Because we are not going to be using... Like, we're literally using Edge at the very beginning of the fight to maybe throw a couple attacks. Yeah, no. I was just thinking, you know, Tella is really slow, so that would be easier, and then we could... So if we tossed Edge, we could put Tella there, and then we could just have Cecil attacking. But no. That feels silly. Now, the other thought I was having is the moon is full of boss fights that give very strong rewards, and it is full of trap chests that give good rewards, and those items that I was wanting to get could show up in any of them. Now, I don't think it's worth it right now. If this goes disastrously, that's honestly what I'm gonna probably do first, is just, rather than use those sirens, is just fight a boss, probably the ribbon spot, because that has 2 items. And isn't a super hard boss. It's been a while since I've actually had to walk the path down to Z. So just to explain how this is going to work, we are going to put a reflect on one of our characters. I should actually make sure that I have... Okay, so we're going to use Reflect to bounce spells at Zeromus. The way this game works, you can only get 1 counterattack, quote unquote, from any attack. So for every action, there can only be 1 reaction, whatever that might be, from either you or from the enemy. The way that they made Zeromus's health pool work is his when he gets to a certain point, I think it's around 60,000, rather than just ending the fight, it basically heals him to full as a reaction, which means if you use that's bad. That's okay. So basically, we're going to skip the second half of the fight by not giving him a reaction to trigger off of, by using counter magic, or reflected magic, instead of actually attacking him directly. Now, at the beginning of this, we can still do a few physical attacks here as well, just to chip in damage. But the main purpose of these other characters is just to survive a big bang. We're taking a little bit of a risk here, but I think with where we're at, we might be okay here. I'll do a heal just to be safe, or if it comes around that far, but there we go. So that is Zeromus or Gyromus. Not sure what that one's from offhand. I like the sprite work though. Beaten in pretty quick order, just because you can dish out enough damage, and that was with very little equipment. We did do a lot of grinding, but we only went, what, 2 fights over getting nuke? Like, really all you need is a couple characters with nuke, and you win. Especially if you have a Silk Veil, or a Silk Web. So yeah, that was I wanted a breezy seed. I may have gone too far, making the settings too easy. It happens. Timer is currently sitting at 125 minus the introduction, so under an hour and a half is always a very, very fast run. And this one was faster than most. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I miss doing these. I'm gonna be trying to do them more. I'm not sure how often, but I will at least be doing them every once in a while. So, hopefully you enjoyed. If you haven't, this is your first Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Randomizer experience. There are tons of awesome players out there who are much better at this than me. Check out the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise homepage. There are all kinds of races posted on their YouTube. They have entire seasons of tournaments. It's really fun. And there's a link in the description for all of that. If you are new to it and you would like to try it yourself, I always post the seed and the flag set for my races in the description. So if you ever want to do a race and then watch me play the same run just to see what your time is versus mine, that is always available. Obviously it's a little late now because you know where everything is. And if you are also if you are new to this and would like to try it yourself, I have a couple tutorial runs where I really go in depth on the mechanics and how certain tricks and stuff work in a little bit more detail than I even did in this one. I think the first video for that is like, I mean, it's segmented out, but it's like 4 hours, because I really took my time to show where every treasure chest is, where every, like, how, like, talked about each boss's weaknesses, stuff like that. So if you are new to this and are not aware of that, that's out there as a resource. There's a ton of stuff out on the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise homepage as well. Made by people who are a lot more talented than me. I basically took a lot of what they did and put into a video format. So, yeah. With all of that out of the way, hopefully you're still enjoying. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you like this, there's a ton of Free Enterprise videos out on my channel. It is still the most content by length, even if Pokemon Reborn has overtaken it in episode count. But yeah. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.